So I got this flipped upside down in the vise, and I got a dial indicator mounted on it. I do have it set on 0. Camera mounted pretty good. I think I'm getting quite a bit of movement out of this mount down here, I think. But that's okay, that's not going to hurt the load test. Just relatively, I want to see how much. See, that doesn't repeat so well. It does that way, but it doesn't repeat very well that way. But here's a 3-pound weight, but who's metric, and we'll slip that on there and let go, and we've got about 8 thousandths of deflection. To 10. I'd say if it can't hold a 10-pound weight, it's not going to hold the lamp. I did. I just heard a crack. You can see it right down here when you do that. So it's got a pin in it, but it failed. So, sorry, Bri. My repair did not work. So back over at the desk here, when I looked at that video, I actually saw a little bubble of something come out from that crack when that was flexing. And I can actually twist this on the pin a little bit, and there's moisture in there. I don't think I got this dried enough after rinsing it out, and I think water weeped into the fracture and prevented the epoxy from getting into the fracture. Like I said, the super glue job that I did, because I had to do it in situ where I needed to get everything aligned. I actually needed 3 hands. I needed to be able to hold this and have somebody hit it with some super glue or some other way that I could have glued it. But I don't have a good bond on the crack. But what I do have, and I'm pulling really hard, trying to get this to separate. I wonder if I can pull this apart now that I've got a pin in there and actually work this apart and clean everything really well and then re-glue it with some fresh epoxy. I'll get everything nice and clean, and maybe I'll use some JB Weld this time. Do a little bit of research and see, but I mean, yeah, that epoxy did not stick very well. I'm not happy with this epoxy at all. But the good news is I have a hole on both sides of this fracture that line up with a pin. So I'm thinking that we can have another go at this. I wonder how old that was. It has been in my shop for a while. It was never opened, but I wonder if it has an expiration date. Yeah, it's like nothing. It's no wonder it didn't hold. It's not even hard. It's like paper. Well, maybe this was just a first step, just to get a hole established. Boy, the one at the top did a lot better than the one at the bottom did. Well, I can gronk on that pretty darn hard, and it's not moving. All right, let's try to figure something out. So just trying to get a game plan here on attempt number 2. This opens up some options that we didn't have before. The bottom portion here could be threaded. If you do that, then you'd have a bolt. You'd have to have a shoulder right here. You'd have to have a bigger hole right here for the head of the bolt. Could use like a small hex-headed bolt. But then the problem with that is, there's only so much room here. This has got a advantage of almost 4 inches. There's 4 inches of mechanical advantage there on this area right here. And of course, that's where it fractured. That's where most of the leverage applies itself to. So opening up even a bigger area here would not be a good idea right here. So I think just sticking with a solid pin is all we really want to try to get away with. There's already, some material lost in that pin to the parent material, because the parent material has already failed once. So if you can't get a mechanical advantage that way through threading, maybe soldering. Of course, no, that would ruin the finish, because you'd have to heat this and this finish would be ruined. This material is not magnetic. So maybe some soldering. Don't know what the material is, what temperature it can withstand. Soft solder could probably handle soft solder. But would soft solder be enough to bear that weight? Because it does, it is soft. It does move under a load. More to think about. It occurred to me that I'm actually dealing with two different tasks here. One is to rejoin both ends of the fracture with some type of adhesive, and the other one is to pin them together. And the same adhesive may not be working for both of these tasks. The best thing to use for a pin fit would be a precision fit on the pin, and then using Loctite. That green Loctite will take up any discrepancies in the fit. And if I've already got a nice tight fit on the pins, then the Loctite will take care of that. The other thing is, I got a feeling these cheap tent stakes that I cut the pin from, that pin may have bent a little bit, just causing more part causing. So if I go to a hardened pin, I think I'll be a lot better off. Now I chose this Loctite R638 because it provides a high strength general purpose bonding of cylindrical parts. And of course I had to go with the JB Weld because it has the world's strongest bond. So how can I go wrong? So I've actually had these items on my bench for a while, and the only thing I was really waiting for is one of these. And, I'm actually posting this video because I'm hoping it'll get me to finish this project.